Oh, sorry about that. All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome. This is going to be awesome. Um, just a couple little things. Welcome to the 1% tribe. Um, make sure I get some good, we're up to like 50 people on my Substack, so I'm pretty pumped about that. I'm not really doing this for, that. However, it's a really good spot to get any kind of recordings if you miss it right now, especially at this time of night. Um, Amy and I will talk about it, but I really want to start exploring maybe 9 o'clock as a start. Now that in Michigan it's so gorgeous out, so that could be a thing. Oh, speaking of Amy, yes, she is. All right, I'll move you over. But yeah, so we might do that. I don't know. We'll wait and see. Um, we might Amy and I might melt before the 9 o'clock hour, but it might be a little easier because it's gorgeous outside. So how are you, kid?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So we're gonna talk about some good stuff tonight. But I gotta brag about my plumbing abilities.
Whoa.
Changed a faucet spiggity thing. Pretty proud of myself. And we'll have, and this is for one of these days, I'm gonna try to get a screen share like the herb farm area that actually Amy's son helped me do. And now we're getting water to we got like three different areas where you can grow some stuff, and I want to get a good water system going over there. So that'll be the next couple weeks. It's pretty good. So it's looking pretty good. I like that. So tonight's gonna be very good. But before we start, I only got two little things. It's not a huge deal. And they're kind of both pretty simple. Uh, are we storing potatoes properly? So listen to this. So if you make your potatoes cold. A lot of us know this already, kind of thing. But if you make them too cold, so if you're a person that puts your potatoes in the refrigerator, you actually can cause a enzyme to break down the the starch into some bad stuff. So some glucose and some fructose that you can't really use. It creates an enzyme, and it actually can make them bad for you. So that's something to be watchful of. Like as you're doing sweet potato salad might be in that issue.
Hmm.
Just try to make it as fresh as you can because it may end up being something that's not the greatest for you once that situation happens. So just that's something that's out there. The other one is using purple ones. Using purple ones they found have the most nutrition in them. So that's pretty cool.
Purple.
So
Huh.
yeah. So they're not a lot of changes. you don't see a lot of, like there's not a huge amount, but it's worth the mention that they found the purple ones had like a ton of stuff in there. So the other one I found tonight before we start is just boil your carrots. So boil your carrots is probably the best way to get the most nutritional value out of a carrot. So even raw and all those kind of things. They're finding like boiling them, make them really soft, really digestible. We get most out of it as a human, so that is helpful as we go. You want as much as you can out of those things. I wonder if because the study only did that, but I wonder if juicing it would be something different too. But anything
Hmm.
to make it more digestible, as you go, and then you get more out of those. So
Well, if you juice it though, you don't get all the fiber and it's still raw,
yeah, so it
right?
would win. Yeah, so
Yeah.
boiling would win for sure. And you got the juice and everything else, like,
Yeah.
just like broths, when we get into that digestive system, um, there's a lot to be said about understanding how the broths and fermentation work, like in just our general health. We'll get into all those, I'm sure, as we go down this like path. So what we've done is we got like these at the office. We've decided I've got a really good connection or a really good company. Their name is Chups. They're an Amish company, and they make their herbal their tinctures and a lot of good supplementation from scratch. They're really diligent about like taking care of it, and we've had huge success with them or huge luck with people really liking it. So when we found that, we decided they have a ton of options for people in the herbal world. My job on this earth, I believe, is to try to make this as doable as possible so that we're not overwhelmed. Because the one last thing you need is an overwhelmed brain going into all these herbals, right? So what we've done is kind of make a starter pack for each individual thing and kind of what we're going through right now. So we did the week before was acute pain, so something happens acutely. There's my probably favorite four that you start with. There's obviously more, but that you want to start somewhere and kind of get good at like figuring it out for yourself. The next week was headaches. So headaches was really good. So those are all like little packages of like where to start, where and especially headaches. Headaches was an interesting process because we talk about it's one of the hardest ones to not be medical because the headache hits you so hard in the face that you want anything to fix it, right? And then if you're trying to go down this holistic concept, how do you do that? Like your head's about to explode, you feel like you're going to grab a medication, obviously. And obviously that's okay. We just want to give you a different option. So those are the two this time. This one's women's health. This one is massive. So tonight is not massive, obviously. We're going to go through a overview with this one, I really recommend getting to a chiropractor, herbalist, whatever, like those kind of things as you're going through it with your doctor as well. A lot of my doctors are into this process as well because it's so out there, or it's such a big scale of what can help, what can't. There's no set pieces to it. So I want you to understand that as we go through. This is definitely somewhere where it would be good to have a team around you. So with that said, let us start it with menopause. All right. I'm doing this for my office staff. We talk about it all the time, how important it is. Not for my office staff necessarily. It's just they see the struggles. They see their friends have it, that this is between, you can have it as early as 20 something years old up to 50-ish, like a little older even. So it's a big struggle. And if we could find a way to kind of have obviously the control part, where we have a good game plan going forward, that would be awesome. So without further ado, this is what we're going to go over tonight, an understanding of what is going on with the body when it comes to menopause holistically. So I'm going to give you a couple kind of insights in how Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine kind of look at these energetically. Okay. So that helps a lot, as you go, so that we can kind of have a good action of like what to do. And then, of course, a holistic strategy that we can use to improve it, improve how we go through that process. All right. So these are the ways that are currently get the way menopause is currently treated. The first is always diet, exercise, and stress management. You try to do those things because the more healthy your body is, the more balanced your hormones get, especially in exercise. If you do a correct amount of exercise, a lot of times you can help your hormonal levels balance out pretty well. Stress is another one that can bring these on because it's all hormonal, right? So it makes sense to us 1% trivers, right? Thoughts, toxins, trauma. That's the first thing we should always go after just to see how we do. Some nutritional supplements out there say they do good. There's botanical medicines out there. So the actual different plant-based medicines compounded bioidentical hormone therapy is another one. Pharmaceutical grade compounded bioidentical hormone therapy. Okay. Medications, there's a lot of medications out there. And then bioidentical hormones. Now, all of these are one of those that like as you go you can see, I mean, you're talking one condition per se, and look how many options there are. So if you're stuck down an option, don't get mad at anybody that's doing it. They're just trying to help, man. Like there is so many different things. What I've heard is the compounded bioidenticals and the pharmaceutical compounded ones are kind of the go-to for the medical profession. And so my hopes is that we can give something as an option other than that. Doesn't mean that these aren't correct, obviously, but we can help that process, and we're going to talk about that. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the Ayurvedic perspective and the traditional Chinese medicine perspective. In the Ayurvedic perspective, it's the Pitta time in a woman's life. Okay. So that's what they call it. That's their energy. And this is where I need to get our doc back on. He would really tear it up.
Yeah.
But Pitta is a fire element according to Ayurvedic medicine. This combined with the water element is a time where our energy is changing in the areas of metabolism and digestion. So that's what they have. These are different times of life. Doesn't mean you're on fire, but it's an element of energy. This fire element is one of those, the Ayurvedics. Now, because I don't know how they all do those things, I don't want to pretend I know. I'm no expert on that, but I love listening to the definition because it really, really helps you understand why these other herbal treatments work pretty well. One of my other favorites that really explains it well, that we'll all understand, is traditional Chinese medicine. So, traditional Chinese medicine shows an imbalance between yin and yang and a major reduction through progesterone. Okay, so progesterone is a yin situation. So that progesterone, which is the precursor to your estrogen, you start having a reduction in the ability to create it. That creates your yin to go down, which makes you in balance to your yin and yang, right? So the yin situation is where the traditional Chinese medicine is going to try to elevate that yin as they're trying to make sure there's a reduction in the yang. Okay. So that's how they kind of act. They go after that. So that's why they say the way they help is by nourishing the yin and trying to pacify the yang. So I always thought you guys would think that was interesting. I always find it cool to like know how these different situations, and anytime you get into those, it can get so crazy how good it is. Okay. So once we're in the menopause situation, oh crap, I got to get rid of that. That's disregard. Okay. That was awesome. I missed it. I missed that slide. Darn it. Okay. So, what are some effective alternative treatments that have been deemed good? Okay. Acupuncture probably has the most studies. Um, I would say it's like the number one thing that actually people go to. And this is like a traditional acupuncturist, like, like Dr. Flynn that came on here once. Um, we'll have him back again, obviously. But acupuncture is a very, very good option because of their knowledge of the energies and how you can rebalance those. Chiropractic can be very effective, but not in the sense of there's no actual probably studies out there at all, but understanding the nervous system and hormone regulation, when you balance those key pieces out, it helps a lot. And people notice a big difference on that. Mind, body, spirit training is very, very big right now in this world. So, mind, body, spirit training on understanding and control of it. Because what happens in a menopause, it's like it's like a switch gets flipped on, and it's like a I hate to use this term because it's probably not this bad, but it's like walking into a room that's an actual like what is it, haunted house, right? So you don't know, you turn the corner and all of a sudden it's a haunted house, right? So all these things, these physiological effects are happening to you. I see it in my patient's face when they're going through something like that. It's almost like what is happening, like they want to ask, like, do I look like I'm on fire? What is occurring at this moment? Right? Because it all happens so quickly a lot of times and it's so up and down. So it can mess with your mind body connection because we have to like get into deep breathing. Like that's the next one is paced slow breathing. So these are all like different physical things you can do prior to like herbals and all those kind of things. But just think of those things in terms of like how do I manage these big waves, instead of an ocean wave that's like little, you have this big crasher that keeps coming in and you have to react every time it happens. Until we get it to where we find something that can balance you out, these can be really good. Okay, so remember that breathing stuff we talked about many, many times. This is a place for it. Okay, so these are okay. So because menopause has many different areas that it hits you, okay, it's not just the hot flashes. Hot flashes are pretty much the most common you hear about, but we'll go through each one. Diminished libido. So this one, a lot of times with that diminished libido, maca has been a huge one for females to actually show as an herb that you can take. Anxiety, because what we just talked about, because it's kind of like a haunted walking into a haunted house when you thought it was just your house, those kind of things. And because it's such a hit in your face, kava and black cohosh could be a really good one. There is some depression aspects to it as well. So when people go through, let's say they had a subconscious program, right? 95% that subconscious where that depression kind of is a lingerer in the background. St. John's work can be massive, massively effective. It can help a lot in a lot of different aspects too. So it's just one of those to remember as you go forward. And these are like regular things. So like let's say you're getting into menopause, try to think, okay, now I'm going to convert my herbs to going after that, for a while until we figure out everything. Hot flashes. So hot flashes are the one that you hear about the most. Okay. So it's black cohosh, soy, which is funny, red clover, St. John's wort, sage, rhubarb, dong quai, ginseng, maca, and licorice. Okay. So there is a lot of options for hot flashes. So, and we'll get into because look at all the different things, right? We're going to talk about that as well. And then, of course, quality of life is what we're talking about with the, you know, up and downs of that, the menopausal situation. Ginseng is a fantastic one. Okay. So, what can we do herbally? It has been shown. Oops, darn it. Well, I'll go back. Let me go back. No. Okay, hang on. Of course I screwed that up. Well, I could talk as I do it. Okay. So it's been shown that a combination that's of course I just passed it anyway. All right. So it's to be shown that a giant in combination, herbs singly by themselves have a really hard time um in doing as much, right? So let's go back one. Okay. Let me do this again. Sorry. There we go. It has been shown that one single herb hasn't really had great effects. So one herb out there doesn't have a great effect as much as a good combination of the right stuff. Okay. This is what Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine has really come to fruition, and they make different formulations based on that. And so we're going to go through a little bit of the ones that we're using as far as like easy for us. But I'm going to give you also the ones that like for traditional Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine would use as well. The biggest thing is like trying to figure out what is the right combo for you in particular is a big deal. Okay. All right. So this is ours. Okay. So our starter pack is it's created with both. So so we have this one. It's a I want to say it's a supplement. I think it's a tincture. No, that one is a supplement. So this one is made, it's a the menopause formula is made of both traditional and Chinese herbs, but it's a lot of them. I think there's 11 or 12 herbs in there that the traditional Chinese herbalists have figured out over the years that work really well. And so that combination is, like was experimented with for a long time. Demania, this one is a little by itself, but it helps with a little bit of a different situation. This is why I added it. But this one's a tincture for sure. It helps with energy, reducing headaches due to menstruation and UTIs. Okay. So you need something in there for the time. And that's one reason why some of these in here will be like regular, everyday kind of situations. With Demania, it's one of those when it hits you where you just don't feel good because of the PMS symptoms or the UTI. Demania is a nice one to be able to take that to actually feel better. So I always like throwing in our little packages, I like throwing in a cute one in there just to make sure we have that, right? And then so women's energy balance is another one that we have. This one is specifically designed to try to get those balancing hormones, increase energy and vitality. Okay. So it doesn't say a lot about them because there's a ton, and I that wouldn't be fair to Chups. I don't want to like give up their formulations, but a lot of times these are some fantastic ideas. But here is a good one to look at. Like if you, let's say this doesn't look interesting, but you'd like to go down the Ayurvedic medicine. So it's called Shatavarya. Shatavarya is their combination of uh, herbs that works really well for menopause. Okay. And Vitex is the one we've been experimenting actually at the office with. Vitex is a supplement that traditional Chinese medicine uses as a very good combination as well. So as you can see, when you start mixing and matching, you can do a lot. And with women's health and menopause, it's definitely a journey, and it's definitely a something to constantly look at, as you go through. One of the reasons I got into herbals is because in chiropractic, I love helping people, and to see the struggle in this, watching my ladies go through this and really have no great answer, and that was always the tough. I mean, you could have a year, 2 years of struggle with this, And if there is something we can do in the herbal world, I would love that. And there's a lot of other female issues that we're going to go through that are very similar to that. But this is one, if we can find another option for you, that would be great. Okay. So, what are we going to do for our 1% tribe? All right. Men out there, if you're listening, listen for your wives. They're going to need to know all this stuff. Help
Or
them
your
out,
moms or your sisters.
or your moms or your sisters, and be that coach. Help them figure out like how they're feeling on all these different things. It's like getting hit in the face with a baseball bat or a giant garden hose. It's like there's all of a sudden you turn it on. That's how shocking these symptoms come. And that's one of the hardest parts of this because then you think you're a crazy person because this crap is happening. Okay. So talk, and the biggest thing is try to get a good uh female doctor that's willing to listen and understand like how you're doing on that. Okay. We don't want to go down one that like knocks out every symptom, but you never know what's happening and then situations arise. Okay. So what I mean by that, a lot of times the imbalance of hormones was a major issue, causing a lot of other things to happen because these people were on medications for a really long time. And so what we want to do is do this in the right way and see what we can do. And then try and get various herbal treatments. Try them for a long time. Don't do it like for 2 days and then be like, oh, that didn't work. Right. It's got to be like a 3 month go, a 6 month go. See how you're doing, like those kind of things. Work on your diet and movement as always. One of the biggest things that I see is we either over exercise, which is can be a huge thing. So we can do the other way, which we wear yourself out, or you got to find that perfect balance where you feel good in the workout. All right. I think that is it. Let me see. Yes, it is. All right. That was not bad at all.
Mhm.
We did
Can I
pretty
can
good.
I add two things?
Please do.
So I've been reading a lot about women's health and how things change as you get older and during menopause, before or after. I mean, it's definitely important to do strength training and build your muscles. But also, like if you are thinking like I need to start exercising more or whatever, and like trying to do a really hard, strenuous workout, it's probably going to cause more stress on your body. So starting with walking and yoga and low impact things, even strength training you can do, but just, start out light. I know there's lots of women that like to go big or go home, and then they come in and see Dr. Jeremy because they're screwing up because they went too hard too fast because that's what we do.
Yeah.
But I've been reading a lot about that, just low stress, like start out with like yoga and stuff, but then also regarding menopause in my encyclopedia of ailments and diseases, there's a
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
big thing about menopause. So I want to read just the bottom affirmation part, if that's
Yes.
okay.
Please do.
Says, I accept the transformations in my body as well as the spiritual ones in my inner life and my social and family life. I live in simplicity. I savor each moment, and I have the power to change my life with all the experience I have had so far, through which I have gained extraordinary wisdom and treasure. I become aware that menopause is a birth to who I truly am. I no longer have to live for others, but I can live for myself. The more I advance in age, the more wisdom teaches me joy, calm, and pure, unconditional love. And it is only by developing these states of being that I can truly remain young all my life. It is the youth of the heart and not of the body.
That is ridiculously good.
I know. I had to read it like three
You're
times to like
like, holy
get all
smoke.
that.
But it is true. Like all of a sudden, if you think of the energetics of it, right? So you have this
Mhm.
energetics of transfer. Men don't go through as much of a body, a physical, all the pieces transfer from mother, physical mother, physiologically giving birth to somebody that is going it's a transition to another time in that life. And a lot of times that is a very difficult thing, like a very difficult. Yeah, as you go into that, it doesn't mean anything lesser. And that's one of the problems. In fact, it could be an explosion of that person, like where I am fascinated. Like most of, watching your ladies that study and do things. So many great teachers and leaders were all later, after the kids, right? After the kids. There's a reason. There's a reason after the kids is a thing, right? So the more you add to your process, right? Whichever way you want to go. Now is that time to either to do it a little bit for yourself, right? Not that you have to throw the kids out and you're done and all that kind of thing. You're you're growing as a human even more, like so and I just think this is such an important, you know, situation that my hopes are that we understand and in the world that we're in this big whole universe, right? Anything that gets thrown at these people, there's a reason it's happening, right? So we have these beautiful transitions into another phase, this summer I get to go back to Dr. Lodog's place. That'll be fun. I cannot
Yeah,
wait.
that's sweet.
I might make her do one of these. That would be cool. I might
Yeah,
bring it
that'd be fun.
we bring a laptop and make her butt do it because she'll probably do one for us once I go down there and ask physically.
Yeah,
She's phenomenal on female things. It's just like she'll blow your mind
yeah,
because she knows, like you said it. It's more about that energy than any other supplementation I can give you.
yeah.
So this one is such a mindset
Hmm.
piece. Not that you're weak, it's just new. It's literally walking into a haunted house that you thought was a grocery store. That that's what you walk into. So your body gets surprised by this stuff. And allowing your body to go, okay, I'm ready to accept, this new transition for myself.
Yep.
And it's gonna be so good. So good. But man, I know. We got to do some more of that. Oh, we're going to get that Psyche going, Amy. I'm
I
telling you,
know.
it's pretty awesome. We had one patient do it,
Yep,
and he loved it. It was
yep,
ridiculous.
yep.
That was awesome. I mean, like, probably do it again. But that's the coolest thing. It's your choice, right? Like, it's a beautiful just tool in your toolbox. So
Yeah.
that's my hopes for these herbs tonight, and like what Amy just did. I really Will you get on Facebook and write that on the
On our Facebook page, yeah.
yeah, like once the video gets through,
Okay.
because that was amazing. Just put it as the quote
Yeah.
and whoa, you kind of threw me off there. I was all worried about talking about menopause. No, just kidding. I enjoy the subject because it's fascinatingly hard,
Yeah.
and I don't wish it on to my medical doctors either. Figured it out. They get to see you once, and then they don't see another for 8 months, and they're hoping, you know. And then chiropractic, a lot of times we get to see you much more often than that. You get to see
Mhm.
that and go from there.
Yeah.
So that's all. You got anything else, Amy? Are you good?
Nope, that's all I got.
That's awesome. So, what do you think about moving it to 9 before we get off? Do you want
Um,
to
I can try
talk about it?
it. I can try it.
Oh no, I think we started at 9, didn't we?
We did. We did. And it was okay, but I'm not gonna lie, it might be rough. I mean, just because that's late for me to be up.
I know. We'll talk about it. If we get
Yeah.
it next week, it'll probably be 8 o'clock still, so don't
Okay.
worry about that.
Okay.
But
Well,
yeah,
next Sunday is Mother's Day, I think.
okay, so we'll be off that day
Yeah.
unless we get another mother's. We could get another. Ooh, we could do a pregnancy
I
one.
was just gonna say you could do some kind of a Mother's Day one. Yeah, I might be
Oh
able to.
yeah, all about that pregnancy
Yeah,
next week.
yeah,
We'll do a pregnancy package.
that'd be good.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right.
All
Well,
right,
you
see
have a
you
good
later.
night.